1-800-449-8255. And you, my friend, wherever you are, all over the world, planet Earth, anywhere in the solar system, if you're a UFO alien flying a little saucer, I can't believe that video I just saw, you guys, where some girl, some pretty, really beautiful model, I guess, she filmed a UFO on a jet, and you really get a good view of it. Check it out. I think people are just into it because it was a pretty girl who filmed it. Had it been me, Clark the Shark, they'd be all, it's not real, it's fake, he made it up, it's Photoshop, it's AI, or some shit. I'm serious, though, you guys. It looks like a really good UFO. I don't know how they rate, like what if they have like class 1, class 2, or class A, B, C UFO. This one has to be like a class A. You really get a good view of the UFO. And I hope that the people on board are fans and dedicated to the Clark the Shark Show right here at 1-800-449-8255, where I'm going to talk about Beck-Ola, baby, Jeff Beck, the second album. Now, there's controversy here, even back in its day and today, because, there's people that don't like this album or something, or, they think the playing's monotonous. The reviews are all over the place. It gets good and bad. Me, Clark the Shark, I like it. I'm kind of biased. I like anything that Jeff Beck does, you guys. Beck, Bogart, Appice, whatever it is. Anything with Rod Stewart is interesting to me, Clark the Shark, these first two albums. And of course, this would be the last album with Rod Stewart and Ronnie Wood. For whatever reason, they went separate ways from their good buddy, Jeff Beck and Beck-Ola, and they went over to the Faces, Kenny Jones, Ronnie Lane, all that, McLagan. And to me, that's the Small Faces, just continuing, although it really isn't. The Faces is another group altogether. And of course, that would last for a while, but Rod Stewart would leave that and he would go get really famous, being Rod Stewart solo. And to a degree with the Faces, because there's a few hit songs in there with that. And of course, Ronnie Wood would go on to play with, who, Mick, Keith, that I don't even want to say the word, the Rolling Blunders. I hate that new album, Hackney Dumbass, so much, you guys. That album fucking sucks. It almost ruins the whole Rolling Stones career, that one album. I hate that new album. I almost hate Ronnie Wood now, like the same way I fucking hate Lars Ulrich. And I'm like, why would you join the Stones, dude? They fucking suck. But the Stones do have great albums in the 70s, and probably their last good album was maybe Undercover. You could make an argument for Voodoo Lounge. I don't know. Bridges to Babylon fucking sucks and everything else. But anyway, Beck-Ola, baby. Ronnie Wood is onto something good here with Rod Stewart. And a little side note here, Ronnie's really good on guitar. He's awesome, but he is no Mick Taylor, you guys. When Mick Taylor, for unknown reasons, left the Rolling Stones, I think Mick Taylor was saying, all the drugs and all the, mainly just the drugs. He was becoming a drug addict in the Rolling Stones, and he had to get out of it. That could or could not be true. I think it is partially true, because the Stones and their entourage, we're talking heavy, hard partying. And if Mick Taylor was saying he had to get out of that, I kind of believe it, you guys. Now, Ronnie Wood, coming over from, Rod Stewart related projects, Beck-Ola, Beck, and the Faces, joining the Stones. I guess he's the perfect addition to the Stones. And of course, Some Girls was awesome. And to me, that's really like the only really great album they did with Ronnie Wood, you guys. I could make a huge argument for Tattoo You. But I'm not talking about the Stones. I'm talking about Beck-Ola and this very interesting album that has Killer playing all over it by everybody. Nicky Hopkins is sort of asked to join this group, you guys. And I would think that Ronnie Wood, Rod Stewart, Nicky Hopkins, and Jeff Beck would make things work here, but it didn't last long, you guys. They replaced that original drummer who was on Truth, who I loved, Mick Waller, dude, who's awesome, and got a guy named Tony Newman, who's pretty fucking good, but I like Mick Waller more, on Truth. I'm sorry, you guys, I do. Jeff Beck apparently said the guy was too jazzy or finesse or whatever, but I don't know, you guys. Listen to that album, Truth. It is a watershed album, cutting edge, breakthrough shit all the way. Jeff Beck, Truth. But Jeff Beck-Ola, this second album is really good, really interesting. Depending on your mood, if you're in a shitty mood, you might not like this. If you're in a happy mood and you're drinking coffee, I think you're going to fucking love this album and just fall in love with it. You might think, it's got too much instrumentation or something, or just too much going on. Jeff Beck is really trying hard to let you know he's the king of guitar on this album, like he does on every one of his albums that are awesome, you guys. And everyone's kicking ass here. This is really heavy, hard. When Led Zeppelin hit the scene, and you could make an argument that Steppenwolf, Iron Butterfly, Cream before them, Janis Joplin, Jefferson Airplane, The Who, and others, and all that stuff in 1966 with the garage music scene. And of course, even Jeff Beck Truth himself. Things were getting heavy, you guys, in, 69, 70, 71, 72. And bands were starting to compete for who have more Marshalls on stage and a louder PA system. And of course, The Who set a Guinness book with Pete, with his high watt stacks, and Wem, probably PA facility. I don't know, you guys, who was the loudest. I mean, Zepp is loud. They're all fucking loud. Eric Douchebag is loud. And certainly Jeff Beck-Ola, loud, very involved, very, very much an interesting and very good, solid album, despite what the critics say, good or bad. If critics rave about this, I'm a little suspect. And if they say this album sucks, I'm very suspect too. This album's right in the middle, you guys. It's meat and potatoes, straight down the line. It's a straight shooter album. I know that my guitar player in the Greenhouse Effect, Phil Keegan, world-renowned, amazing, awesome guitar player, with me, Clark the Shark, on drums and vocals in our three-piece. He's a huge Jeff Beck fan, you guys, and well, he should be, because Jeff Beck is amazing. And, maybe Jeff Beck isn't the most, fastest or dexterous or guitarist. You could argue that Eric Douchebag is actually better or something. But better and good and all that are great doesn't matter to me, Clark the Shark. There's something about how Jeff Beck puts his life and his vibe and his feel into the guitar. And he does play very fast and very well and very clean and really good. He's a lot cleaner than Jimmy Page or Pete Townsend, you guys. Jeff Beck is a real guitarist. I'm a guitarist too, me, Clark the Shark, and I know guitar. And Jeff Beck, Truth and Beck-Ola, a couple of amazing albums, you guys, that I love. You look at this album cover and you think it's the Beatles or something. It's got an apple or something. I don't know if maybe it's a guava or a grape, or I'm sure it's an apple, you guys. Come on. But I'm thinking like the Beatles, Abbey Road or something, part 2, or I don't know, you guys. Look at that. What's Jeff Beck trying to confuse you here with Beck-Ola? This amazing 1969 album. It does look like a Beatles album, you guys. I'm sure Ron Nasty and Dirk McQuickley at least phoned their attorneys, their lawyers, and what's this Beck-Ola album cover? It looks like me band, I'll get me lawyer, to look into that. Dirk McQuickley was examining Beck-Ola for the album cover, but he forgot that inside this album cover sleeve, this jacket, is an incredible album. And I don't care what the stars say, AllMusic gives it a 4.5, you guys. And I don't know if it's really that good of an album, but I will sit here and say, me, Clark the Shark, perhaps Beck-Ola does deserve a 4.5. Rolling Stone Album Guide, the geniuses, just give it a 2.5 out of 5. Rolling Stone favorable. And the Village Voice, wow, C-. I don't think any of these reviews are fair, you guys, good or bad. You just got to listen to this album yourself. And, side one, it's not a very long album, you guys. It's rather concise and gets to the point. I don't like covers, All Shook Up. It's pretty fucking killer, though. Rod Stewart. I basically think of the version here, All Shook Up, is Rod Stewart solo. I'm not kidding, you guys. Spanish Boots, of course, amazing. Ronnie Wood, Jeff Beck, Rod Stewart. Spanish Boots, awesome, incredible. Girl from Mill Valley, Nicky Hopkins. There's so much Nicky Hopkins keyboards on this album, you guys. And it's one of those albums where you're like, finally, Nicky Hopkins gets real involvement and good credit or something. He's on a lot of stuff with The Who and all these people, and in the background with a jangly guitar. Sometimes it's, or piano going with Pete's guitar. Sometimes it's like annoying, the Nicky Hopkins background jangle. But when he comes to the forefront, like he does with the Stones, it's killer, dude. It's, it's interesting. Jailhouse Rock, once again, Elvis cover. I don't like covers, but once again, when you hear this, you think of Rod Stewart, you guys. You don't really think of Jeff Beck. Side 2, Plinth, Hopkins, Wood, Stewart. Good stuff. The Hangman's Knee. I think of like Uriah Heep, The Hanging Tree. When I think of that song, it's awesome. Tony Newman, the drummer, gets a credit with Beck, Hopkins, Stewart, Wood. And Rice Pudding, of course, the very, very, very long song, Hopkins, Wood, Beck, Newman. I think it's awesome, you guys. Some people might differ, but this whole album, very interesting, heavy, hard rock, very involved, bluesy, lots of piano and keyboards shit, and of course, Jeff Beck, incredible guitar, you guys. And you might hear this album and think it's a Rod Stewart album, sort of like Truth, you guys. You're just going to lean and feel that way, especially if you crank it up real loud and you listen to it. And sometimes I think that Jeff Beck got rid of Rod Stewart for that reason, because he's like, this guy is, people think it's a Rod album, and Rod, of course, is, he's not bigger than God. I know Ron Nasty said the Ruttles were bigger than God, but he meant bigger than Rod, or something like that, you guys. But I think Jeff Beck got Rod Stewart out of this band. I do. And in the process, kind of hurt his relationship at the time anyway with Ronnie Wood. I'm sure they were buddies, they like to just hang out down at the pub, have a few. And, Ronnie Wood, how can you hate that guy? He's always just buddies with everybody. And he's a great guitarist. He's no Mick Taylor. He's no Jeff Beck. But Ronnie Wood plays a role, you guys. He's this cool guy. He's kind of a mediator when people are arguing. When Mick and Keith, having a tussle, tuss up in the studio, Ronnie Wood is there to be the referee in that with a big smile, the happy mediator. He's not, like if it were me, Clark the Shark, I'd just be like, fuck both you guys, get out of here. Get the fuck out of the room. I'm throw a beer bottle at both of them. Ronnie Wood would never do that. He'd just come over with a big smile, put his arm around you and tell you a story about, he was with a girl and they were doing cocaine and, and then Jeff Beck walked in and, just one of those stories. You ever see that thing on Saturday Night Live? I believe that's how Ronnie Wood really is too. He's a cool guy, just a guy that hangs out. And, he just makes the whole situation smooth. And I think the Stones have probably lasted this long, and maybe unfortunately and to their detriment, but because of the happy, good vibes of Ronnie Wood, you guys, I do believe that. But he couldn't save this project here, Beck-Ola, the second album by Jeff Beck. He's in it with Rod Stewart and Jeff Beck, and they're putting on quite a show here. This album could have been a whole lot better. I can see what they're trying to do with the clever Elvis shit, in some weird, twisted way. It's sort of like a showcase for Rod Stewart. But unfortunately, these albums, Truth and Beck-Ola, are really the things that launched Rod Stewart. And the Faces, no doubt, but Rod Stewart got the confidence here, you guys, with these albums to go solo. It's true, like it or not, take it or leave it. And, I would love to see Jeff Beck, all original songs, no covers. Even though the covers are funny and cute and interesting, I love all original material. Me, Clark the Shark, right here from the golden EIB Sharkerphone. It's not a microphone, because it was actually given to me by Jeff Beck. And he said, Clark the Shark, you're better on guitar than people will admit. You're not just a drummer. And I'm like, yeah, dude, there you go, Jeff Beck. I was kicking it with him down at Hermosa Beach one night, somewhere. I'm not going to say where, but me and Jeff Beck were talking, and he was like, yeah, you're good. Why do people give you all this grief? Ben is dead. Great. He ripped it off from Ted Nugent, but so what? I get the vibe. And I'm like, yeah, see, Jeff Beck understands me. Clark the Shark. It's not just drumming and singing or songwriting. It's everything I do, you guys. You guys out there all over the world watch my videos. A lot of it's just my promotion. I just drive the music into your face day in and day out. And when you turn on the internet, you can't miss Clark the Shark. You're always going to see my shit. And some of you get annoyed and you send me emails and you're like, I'm sick of you, Clark the Shark, and your fucking lame, terrible music. It's just making me sick. I want to vomit. But hey, Shark, can you help me and get my songs known as much as you, Clark the Shark, with some videos and all that shit that you do? I hate your guts, Shark. You suck and I'm sick of you. But can you help me promote my shit too, like you? And I'm like, hey, man, you pay Clark the Shark $3.50 or $4.50 or $5.50, baby. Not $3.50. I mean, $350. And I will get your song and video heard and seen all over the United States. But I always tell people it's got to be a really good song. If you just give me something that's okay or, meat and potatoes, that might be good, but it's got to be great. My music is great. Addicted, It Ain't Easy, Star, She's a Bitch, 5 Years, Brandy. I have great songs. That could be why they watch and listen to me so much. I know it's my hype and publicity and payola and promotion. It's true, you guys. It is. But you too, if you have great songs, email me at clahagin@AOL.com or Hagens Clark, HAGINSCLARK @gmail.com. And let me hear your songs, and I'll tell you if they're really good or mediocre or solid or great. And I want to hear good kind of classic rock sounding shit. I don't want to hear Justin Bieber type of shit or girls singing now like Taylor Swift or Katy Perry or Miley Cyrus shit. I don't want to hear that, you guys. I know I could promote that shit, but I want to promote good, solid rock music, or even good, solid music that's good and melodic. That's what I, Clark the Shark, want to promote. And if you got something, baby, like Beck-Ola by Jeff Beck, 1969, oh, baby, I want to fucking hear you, and I want to put you on Rock City Radio and get you heard all over, not just the United States, but the whole world. But anyway, back to Jeff Beck, Beck-Ola, 1969. Buy this album, you guys, at Amazon, iTunes, Spotify. And if you're only 18 years old and you were born in 2006, 5 years after Mohammed Atta and those Al-Qaeda terrorists flew those jets into the World Trade Center in New York, New York is the hub of me, Clark the Shark, right here on WABC Radio, worldwide, #1 syndicated show. And I'm really bitter at those terrorists for taking down my World Trade Center, Twin Towers, you guys. But, you were born 5 years after 9/11. You don't even remember it. You're just an 18-year-old kid born in 2006, right here in 2024. Well, you're the person I want to get into Beck-Ola and buy some Jeff Beck. Get into this music. Don't listen to Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift, Dave Grohl, or anything connected to Dave Grohl. Don't listen to it. Don't listen to Green Day, Blink-182, The Killers, Modest Mouse, any of that fucking shit. Don't listen to anything from 1989 to 2024, moving forward. Especially don't listen to 1989 music, because that's the year Taylor Swift was born. Don't fucking listen to anything from 1989, the year, not even from me, Clark the Shark. If I recorded a song in 1989, I want you to fucking burn it and say Clark the Shark sucks, and how dare he record music in the fucking year that Taylor Swift was born. Yeah, I fucking hate Taylor Swift, but she's not who I hate the most. I hate the culture of today's, rap, hip hop, pop music, Justin Bieber, all that fucking weak shit. And I hate the music of the 90s, OOs and teens. Fuck it all, you guys. Listen to Jeff Beck, Beck-Ola, 1969, and you're going to hear kick-ass, heavy, hard-rocking guitar that has some melody, some killer piano from Nicky Hopkins, master of the keyboards, Nicky Hopkins. He can do it all. I wish it had Mick Waller on drums, but it's got a guy named Tony Newman who's a heavy kick-ass drummer. And, of course, Rod Stewart, Yeah, man, I'm not the world's biggest fan of Rod Stewart. Ronnie Wood on bass is just weird to me. In this, I'd much rather have him on guitar, but you could tell this album and these 5 guys, they're a happy family, and yet there's something wrong at the same time. I think getting rid of Mick Waller was a dangerous move by Jeff Beck, and it maybe caused all the controversy and turmoil here with Beck-Ola. I believe that, you guys. I do. When you replace a kick-ass, really good drummer, it's usually the start of bad things and bad karma. I'm not kidding. And I think Jeff Beck's whole career was tainted by that. Truth was such an amazing watershed breakthrough album. It created all the heavy rock of the 70s, you guys. You could argue Steppenwolf and other bands of the era. But to me, the Yardbirds, Jeff Beck era is so important. And then Jeff Beck solo with these two albums, Truth and Beck-Ola. Great music, you guys. Will live forever. Elvis covers, Rod Stewart shenanigans and all. Still buy this. I would have loved to have heard a double album in 1969 by Jeff Beck, Beck-Ola, with all originals, much more serious and committed than this album. That being said, this album is pretty dedicated and committed. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show, make sure you buy it. And you tell them you heard it from the golden EIB Sharkerphone. It's not a microphone, it's the Wolfman Jack on crack, Clark the Shark. The music expert, encyclopedia brain. Forget Wikipedia. My brain is your new Wikipedia, planet Earth. And my vinyl collection back in the South Bay, Torrance Redondo Beach, where I had lots of Jeff Beck, baby, I had to. My guitar playing definitely influenced more by Jeff Beck than Eric Douchebag or Jimmy Page. Or even Pete Townsend. I love Pete Townsend. He's underrated. He's very shitty and sluggish and makes a lot of noise. He's kind of like Neil Young. But in some weird way, I love Neil Young and Pete Townsend for just how fucking sloppy and shitty they are. It's kind of like the guy in the Stooges, Ashton, you know, or maybe, I don't know, guys that jam with Bowie, Mick Ronson. He's a little cleaner than Pete. Maybe he's a bad comparison, but yeah, some guitarists that are shitty, you know, like Greg Ginn from Black Flag, they've got something that's pissed off and energetic and awesome. But Jeff Beck isn't like that at all, you guys. This guy is clean, heavy, loud, technical, dexterous. That being said, he's not the world's greatest. I can think of a lot of guitar players that are better than Jeff Beck, but I can't name one that has more soul and has more style than this guy. This guy has a signature guitar sound, and he makes signature guitar albums that only have that sound. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show, make sure you buy this. And I'm out of here, people. Beck-Ola. Peace.